A few days ago, I found out about something massive, something world-shattering. Shrek 5 is getting released. That's right. Even though Shrek 4 is called Forever After, the final chapter, apparently they're adding one more chapter because in 2026, Shrek 5 is supposed to release. And this made me realize something. I don't think I've ever watched the latter 3 Shrek movies. And for the first one, I can't even remember it. I mean, the last time I watched it, I was probably 7 years old. So before I start yapping anymore, let's just get into Shrek number 1. Shrek.
Oh, hello there.
Our main character, if you couldn't tell by the title of the movie, he sees a donkey. This donkey is running away from some guards. Why is he doing that, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. The guards are trying to capture all fairy tale type creatures, like the gingerbread man, the wolf from the 3 Little Pigs, and Pinocchio. You might have a question though, why are they chasing this donkey? I mean, a donkey isn't a fairy tale creature. It's not all that special. Well, in this case, you would be wrong, because this donkey can speak.
But, I don't have any friends.
Shrek, being the big bad ogre he is, he scares off all of the guards and protects Donkey of his fate of being tortured endlessly until he inevitably gets killed from the endless trauma. This donkey, whose name is Donkey, is so grateful towards Shrek for saving his life that he decides that they are going to be best friends from here on out. Shrek couldn't care less about Donkey. He just saved him because, well, I don't really know. I'm not gonna. It's never really explained. I guess we're supposed to believe he's a good person, but as we're gonna see later in the series, he's really not. Shrek heads back home. He heads to his hut, and his hut is in a swamp, and the swamp is his. But when Shrek heads home, Donkey follows him. Shrek lets him stay outside. He doesn't let him come in, but he lets him stay outside during the night. The next morning, he goes outside to tell Donkey that he needs to leave. But now everyone is there.
What are you doing in my swamp?
I don't know how, I don't know why, but they are. One of the many people there tells Shrek that the reason that they are there is all because of this manlet named Lord Farquaad. So Shrek decides to put on his Karen. He's going to speak to the manager, and Donkey follows because at this point he's just a follower. Meanwhile, we cut to Farquaad and he got a special mirror, and this mirror can tell him anything he wants to know. And for some reason, Farquaad can't be king until he gets a wife. I don't know. Is that a real rule? I have no idea. I don't. And then there's another rule upon this, that this wife has to be a princess. It can't just be any normal woman or any normal person. It has to be a princess. So the mirror tells him of this princess named Fiona. You have a mirror that can tell you anything and everything. And this is what you ask of it. I mean, I guess it's gonna lead you to becoming a king, but like, I feel like there's so many other things you could ask. You have like the most powerful thing in the universe right now. Cutting back to Shrek, he arrives at the kingdom and everyone is terrified of him. The big bad ogre. He's so scary. Why did I write this down? Now I gotta do it. Grr. Oh my God. There's a bunch of knights and Farquaad tells all the knights to kill Shrek. And whoever kills him gets to be the champion that gets to save the princess. But Shrek scales to multiversal, so he easily wipes them all out, no diff. After he brutally murders all of these innocent knights, Farquaad and Shrek make a deal. If Shrek saves the princess, then Farquaad will somehow get everyone out of his swamp. I don't really know how he has that power, but it's a children's movie, so it's okay, I guess. Shrek and Donkey set off on a grueling journey. Well, not that grueling because they easily reach the tower. But at the tower, it is protected by a ginormous, fire-breathing, deadly dragon. But the dragon ends up falling in love with Donkey, so again, it's a moot point. So Shrek saves Fiona, happy days. They start leaving, and Fiona is all like, "Show me the face of my savior. For who saved me, the princess of these lands?" Or something like that, I don't know. And Shrek is like, "No, no, no, that's not a good idea." But eventually, he cracks under pressure, and he reveals that it is none other than an ogre. And for about 45 seconds, it's an issue. But after that, she just doesn't care anymore. So yeah, I guess, I don't know. And the rest of the movie is practically just Shrek and Fiona trying to get rid of Donkey so that they can have some alone time. But there's one weird thing about Fiona. During the night, she always hides herself. One night, Donkey sneaks into her hiding spot and he finds out that she is also an ogre.
It's okay.
What did you do with the princess?
Donkey, shh. I'm the princess.
Ah!
It's me. In this body.
Oh my God, you ate the princess!
Then they talk about it and how that makes her feel ugly and not worthy of being with Shrek, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. I mean, Shrek is an ogre too. If it was a human, sure, I would understand. But ogre, probably like ogre. I mean, it's that simple. Human like human, cat like cat, dog like dog, ogre like ogre. I mean, I feel like it's that easy. But whatever. This whole time Shrek is standing by the door listening, and the way she's talking makes it sound like she is talking bad about Shrek. So Shrek gets all butthurt and he leaves to go get Lord Farquaad so that he can pick her up, because apparently they are close enough to the village now. Farquaad comes and then they leave each other's side in an angry argument because Shrek yells at her, she yells at Shrek, and then they're all like, ah, and you know, bunch of stuff. I don't care. So I should explain why Fiona is an ogre, I guess, you know, for the plot of the movie, because if you've never watched Shrek somehow, then you have no idea why she's an ogre. She is cursed with a curse that makes her an ogre at night. And the only way to cure it is, of course, none other than a true love's kiss. So Fiona wants this wedding between her and Lord Farquaad to happen before night so that he doesn't see she's an ogre. She wants to kiss Farquaad as soon as possible during the day so that the curse evaporates so that she never turns into an ogre. If you didn't understand what that line meant, I don't know if I need to explain that, but I did. But Donkey tells Shrek what really happened, and Shrek locks in. He realized it was all a mistake and he got butthurt for no reason. So he runs to the kingdom. He enters the wedding. He says, stop, or something to that avail. And then he kisses Fiona and she turns into a full-fledged ogre. And that's Shrek 1. Hype ending, I can't even lie. Now we have Shrek 2. Fiona is invited back to her home kingdom now that she is out of the tower. And for some reason she wants to go, which makes no sense at all. These people, her parents, the people a child is supposed to trust the most in the world, locked her in a tower with a dragon just because she had a curse that turned her into an ogre at night that she had no control over. And they're pretty much like, good luck, I hope you don't die, and someday I hope a random handsome dude comes and saves you, because if they don't, then you're screwed. You're screwed. And now she wants to go see these people? I would resent them, hate them with my deepest passions, because they caused me to sit in a room for years upon years doing nothing but fiddling my thumbs. But nonetheless, Fiona and Shrek start their journey to far, far away land. Meanwhile, we meet our antagonist. Well, one of our two antagonists. There's two antagonists in this movie. This one is Prince Charming. He arrives at the tower where Fiona was waiting, but she is no longer there, of course. Instead, there is the wolf from Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf tells Prince Charming that Fiona is with a man named Shrek, and he gets mad. He gets angry. He is fuming. How dare Fiona be saved by another man? I mean, she should have waited to be saved by me. She should have known I was coming.
Some curtains to find her.
What? Princess
Fiona?
No!
Oh, thank heavens. Where is she?
She's on her honeymoon.
Honeymoon? With who?
Back with Shrek, Fiona, and Donkey, they finally make it to far, far away land after a long journey. Okay, I have to preface this because later it's gonna matter, but the journey is like, it's shown to take weeks and weeks and months, but later that just doesn't matter. So they make it to far, far away land, and everyone is surprised. The king and queen the most, because they thought their daughter would now be a human, because they assumed that she was saved by a human male, and they kissed, making her a human woman. But no, that was not the case. She's in fact an ogre. A bunch of stuff happens, none of it really important. Let's skip to at night, when in the king's room someone mysteriously appears. That someone is none other than our other antagonist, the fairy godmother, and her son, Prince Charming.
So, what's new?
You remember my son, Prince Charming?
Charming! Oh, is that you? My gosh, it's been years.
The fairy godmother tells the king that if he doesn't hold up his end of the deal by having Fiona marry Prince Charming, then she's going to take back her half of the deal. We aren't told what that half of the deal is, but it just doesn't really matter. Like for the whole movie, we aren't told unless I just completely missed it. So what does the king do in response to this? He goes to a sketchy bar and hires a hitman to kill Shrek. Back with Shrek, it's the middle of the night and he wakes up. He sees Fiona's diary and decides to open it up. And he sees how Fiona wanted to be just like every other princess. And this made Shrek feel terrible about himself because the life he's giving her is not that. Because of him, she is permanently an ogre. Then suddenly Shrek hears the sound of knocking coming from the door. So he opens the door. Standing there, looking back at him, is none other than the king. And the king says that he's so sorry for how he acted earlier in the day. I skipped over the part, but they had a huge argument because like that Fiona was an ogre and you know, it didn't really matter though. So he says he's sorry and he says he wants to make up for it. Shrek accepts his apology for Fiona's sake. What a good husband. And the king asks Shrek to meet him in the forest to have father-son bonding moment. And Shrek, for some reason, agrees without asking Fiona. He has no survival instincts at all. This man put his own daughter against a fire-breathing dragon, and Shrek just had an argument with him, and now he's going to meet him in a forest? Are we for real? The morning comes around. Shrek and Donkey are wandering the forest for hours and can't find where the king said he'd be. But at some point, they hear the sound of purring. Then a cat jumps out of the forest in front of them. This is where he meets Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots attacks, but Shrek, being the multiversal god among men he is, easily takes him down. Boots gives up the fact that it was the king that hired him. Shrek leaves. Boots joins their group because he owes Shrek his life or something. And then a lot of other stuff happens. You just gotta know that they're heading to the fairy godmother's workshop. I don't really know what it is, but that's where they're going. They want to speak to her because they don't know, like, you gotta keep in mind, Shrek does not know that she's evil yet. So they sneak into the workshop. They find their way to the fairy godmother and she is making a love potion when they enter. She immediately tells them to leave because she hates Shrek, of course, because Shrek took her son's bride to be. They leave but stay in the factory. They sneak around and find a potion called the happily ever after potion. This potion is supposed to make you and your lover look beautiful, which, let me tell you, this is a terrible message to give to kids. The message is to be happy. You and your partner have to be beautiful. And for me, that's already cooked. I mean, half of the equation can't be completed at this point, but it's just a bad message. Shrek, Donkey, and Boots run away from the factory. And once they are far enough away from the factory, Shrek wants to drink the potion. But like a dad during Halloween, Donkey had to try it first.
No. I don't think so. If there's going to be any animal testing, I'm going to do it. That's the best friend's job. Now give me that bottle.
But nothing happens, so Shrek tries it and nothing happens again. So Shrek goes into depressed emo mode. They start walking back to the kingdom, and during their long journey back to the kingdom, they find like a little place. I don't really know what it is, but they find it, they sleep. And when Shrek wakes up, 3 baddies are fawning over him. And Shrek is confused until he sees his reflection.
Oh no, he's hot!
Shrek locks in and stays loyal, but then he sees Donkey, who is now a white stallion. We go back to Fiona and see that she has returned to human form as well. Shrek makes it back to the castle and yells for Fiona. Fiona runs outside, but Shrek runs inside. They miss each other. Shrek runs into their bedroom where Fiona was, and there waiting for him is the fairy godmother. She locks him in the room. Fiona finds Prince Charming, who she has never seen before, and he is pretending to be Shrek now that Shrek has assumed a human form. But Fiona is suspicious because he doesn't really act like Shrek. Shrek then gets arrested along with Boots and Donkey. Then this next part doesn't really make any sense. Gingerbread Man and a bunch of the other characters from the first movie see a clip on TV about how Shrek got arrested. So they make their way all the way to far, far away land instantly, which, like I said before, was supposed to be a month-long journey. But somehow these guys just teleport there. The night of the ball that Fiona and Shrek were invited to comes, but Shrek is still locked up until the characters from the first movie break him out of jail. And Shrek comes up with a plan. He asked the gingerbread man if he still knows the Muffin Man. They go to see the Muffin Man, which I can only assume was close to the swamp where the Gingerbread Man lived. So again, they teleported back to the swamp, and the Muffin Man makes him a giant gingerbread man, like the size of Godzilla. Godzilla? I don't know why I said that wrong. And they go back to far, far away land. So again, they teleport back. And this is all in the span of one hour, not even an hour, less than that. And this giant gingerbread man, he just starts destroying the whole city. He doesn't even care. I mean, he's not even a conscious being, I don't think, but he just starts destroying everything. He's like, you know, and he just destroys everything. But they make their way to the ball. They get there in time. The fairy godmother is so mad. She launches an attack at Shrek. The king jumps in the way to save Shrek, and it somehow bounces back off of him and hits the fairy godmother as well. So the fairy godmother dies a brutal death, and the king turns into a frog. I don't know why there was a different result. Maybe because she is a fairy and he is a human. Shouldn't they both die or both turn into frogs? I don't really know. Shrek asks Fiona if they want to stay in human bodies, and she says no. I never mentioned this, but the condition for the potion was you had to kiss your true love before midnight to make it permanent. So they don't kiss. They turn back into ogres. Donkey turns back into donkey. Then they party. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. So the movie is over, right? No, there's an after credit scene that I didn't even know about. I was just too busy or too lazy at the time to skip the credits. So the end credit scene is wild. It reveals that Donkey and the dragon from the first movie had children. They were banging. The little donkey and the big dragon were doing it. I just want to know how, because logistically that should not work in the slightest. Next, we got Shrek 3. This movie starts out with Shrek still in far, far away land, and this frog king is sick. So Shrek has to stand in as the new king. Shrek really does not like this. There's nothing about the whole king thing that he enjoys. Meanwhile, Prince Charming has fallen. He is sad and depressed because he has to work at a bar where he puts on a play about losing to Shrek, which I know he is a bad guy, but I still feel bad for him. I mean, this guy is humiliating himself for coins after his mother just died. After the play, Charming leaves the bar and sees a newspaper that says the king is sick, and he comes up with a brilliant idea. I mean, I can only assume that he does that. I don't know.
I am the rightful king of far, far away. And I promise you this, Mother. I will restore dignity to my throne. And this time, no one will stand in my way.
Then we cut back to Shrek and Fiona when they're about to get it on, and someone enters the room. Shrek gets mad because he was about to get some ogreissy, and he says someone better be dying. And of course, someone is dying. That someone is the king. They go and visit the king, and the king tells Shrek that he needs to step up and be the new king. I said king so much, I didn't even realize that I wrote it down that much. But Shrek is in denial. So we asked if there's any other way. The king tells him the one other heir to the throne, that being a kid named Arthur. Then the king actually dies. No, I'm not gonna say just kidding, because he really dies. I mean, what else would you expect? There's been so many deaths in this movie series already.
What's right?
Harold.
Dad? Dad! Dad? Do you think, man?
But they quickly move on from his death because life holds no value in this universe. Shrek gets on a boat with Donkey and Boots to make their way to Arthur. But as they are leaving the dock, Fiona yells out and tells him that she is pregnant, which is something that they have been building up to at this point at the movie. And then Boots says, he just flat out says it. I mean, it's bleeped, but he says that Shrek is royally fucked, which is not something I expected from this movie. But then again, there's mutant babies, murder, kidnapping, and a bunch of other stuff. But eventually Shrek and his group get to a high school? Here they find all the classic high school groups. The popular girls, the nerds, the stoners. They ask the nerds where Arthur is, and they point to a group of jocks who are currently jousting. One of the jousters is absolutely destroying the other jouster, and of course, Arthur is the weaker one. But before they can get to him, Arthur runs away. They next find him at a school assembly where he gets a wedgie in front of the whole school. So basically we learned that Arthur's a big nerd and isn't cool at all. Pretty much like you. Shrek tells Arthur in front of everyone at the assembly that he is next in line to be the king of far, far away land. Everyone is of course shocked because how could this loser nerd be a king? But none of this matters in the end because they leave the high school and it never is brought up again. Well, that's kind of not true. One of the teachers shows up later, but this whole high school part could have been way shorter or just cut out entirely. I just say they found Arthur doing something else. I don't really know. The main group, with the addition of Arthur, start their journey back to far, far away land. Meanwhile, while this is happening, Prince Charming is starting his plan. He went to the bar where all of the bad guys hang out, like Captain Hook and Rumpelstiltskin. He convinces all of the bad guys to join his side and help take over the kingdom so that they can get their happily ever after. So they charge the kingdom. They start destroying stuff. They even turn this place into a Hooters. You might be thinking, what is Fiona doing at this time? Well, she is having a baby shower with all the other princesses. So let's discuss this world because this makes no sense at all. We are only led to assume that far, far away land is the biggest kingdom out of all of the kingdoms, considering they hold all of the bad guys. They have a class that's ocean away that everyone knows about them. We can only assume it's the biggest kingdom. And here's all these other princesses that come from other kingdoms, and they are all relevant princesses, like Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and Rapunzel. Shouldn't Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty have like a massive castle? I mean, I don't know the lore of these movies, so at this point I'm just yapping, but it just doesn't really make any sense to me. Why does Fiona's kingdom the biggest? Why is it the biggest? And not to mention, all these important princesses just dropped everything to go to a person's baby shower that we can only assume they have never met. If this is in the ancient times, right? You know, they're traveling months and months to get to another kingdom. They probably have never came here before. Why are they coming here for a baby shower? Okay, going back to the movie, Charming and his group go to the castle, and in one clean swoop, he captures all of the princesses. What happens next is kind of fuzzy in my mind, but it went something like this. Charming is starting a play where he is the main character and the villain is Shrek. And in the play, he is going to kill Shrek, but he's also going to kill Shrek in real life at the same time. It sounds way more confusing than it is. Shrek, in Charming's ideal world, Shrek is gonna run up and then be in the play at the exact moment. It works out for him. I don't know how he has like future sight or something. I don't know. Shrek, Arthur, Donkey, and Boots find an old wizard who used to be Arthur's teacher. With his help, they all get sent back to the land far, far away. Shrek, Donkey, and Boots immediately get captured. Boots and Donkey get sent to the same prison as the princesses. Then they break out, and that's kind of where these guys' stories end. I don't know what Fiona, Boots, and Donkey does for the rest of the movie, but they somehow make it to the play at the end. Shrek is in custody of the evil people when the play starts. It's going and going until Shrek is finally brought onto stage to get murdered. But remember who didn't get caught? That's right, Arthur. He literally comes in from the top ropes to stop it.
Everybody stop!
What is it now?
Artie?
But Charming isn't having none of it. So first he tries to kill Arthur, but Shrek stops him. So then Charming stabs Shrek. Okay, I lied, but then Charming dies. He dies. Arthur becomes king. Shrek gets to go back to his home in the swamp with Fiona, where he is now living with his 3 children. And that is Shrek 3. And finally, the last one, we are almost done with our journey. Shrek 4, Forever After, the final chapter. The movie starts off with the whole nothing burger, so we are skipping past it. So the movie really starts off with a montage of Shrek hating his life as a father.
Morning. Better out than in.
Well, that's not true. He likes it at first, but as it continues, he hates it more and more and more and more and more and more. This is going to be important in a bit. Shrek and Fiona make their way back to far, far away land. And there they are celebrating their kid's first birthday. So it's a year in the future. And everything everyone does is irritating Shrek because he's hating his life right now. So he's just at the top of his anger right now. So everything everyone does is making him more angry. The people asking him to do his ogre scream. Donkey being himself. The people saying he's not a real ogre anymore. It all just brings him over the boiling point, and he leaves the birthday.
Unbelievable.
Tell me about it.
And waiting outside is a little man known as Rumpelstiltskin. He brings Shrek to his place of business and tells Shrek that he can make a deal to be a normal ogre for one day. And all Shrek has to give up is one day, any day. Rumpel leads him on to pick a day when he was a child. So Shrek does that and he accepts the deal. Suddenly the world around him starts changing and he's suddenly in the middle of nowhere. And he sees a tourist bus that comes by his house in his normal life. But usually they're all excited to see Shrek, you know, because he's the savior of the kingdom. But now they're all terrified to see an ogre. This makes Shrek feel joy. I don't know if the main character who feels joy from terrifying people is a good for a kid's movie, but it is what it is. So he goes on a rampage of fright. He is scaring everyone he can, and soon he starts seeing posters of people saying a reward for killing the ogre. He's looking at these posters when he suddenly sees one for a female ogre, and he realizes it's Fiona.
Fiona?
Okay, mid-movie break. I hated this movie. This was by far my least favorite one. I disliked it so much that even thinking about it, while writing this script and reading it, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed that I had to watch this movie in the first place, frankly. Okay, back to the movie. Suddenly, some witches come and jump him. They did not give him a fair one-on-one. They take him to far, far away land. There he sees Rumpelstiltskin in the palace.
Stiltskin. Ah, Shrek! There he is!
No, so close! Oh, have I been waiting for you?
And Rumpel tells him that the day he took away was the day that Shrek was born. He also tells Shrek that because he was never born, he technically never saved the princess. So this caused the old king and queen to have to trade the kingdom to him in exchange for Rumpel to remove Fiona's curse, which doesn't make any goddamn sense at all. I didn't even realize while watching the movie, but Fiona is an ogre in this movie, so he didn't even remove the curse. Why does he have the kingdom? Why is she an ogre? I don't get it. Nothing in this stupid movie makes any sort of sense. And the final thing Rumpel tells Shrek is that after the 24 hours is up, Shrek will disappear like he never existed. Shrek found Donkey earlier on, but Donkey didn't remember him. But that doesn't stop Shrek from taking Donkey. Donkey earlier was a pole horse for a few witches. Yes, this is important. Shrek beats up a few people, steals a flying broomstick, kidnaps Donkey, and he leaves the palace where he was. Once they are far enough away, Shrek shows Donkey the deal he made with Rumpel, and Donkey said something about an exit clause. And Shrek said he couldn't find it, but Donkey, because he spent time with the witches earlier, he knows how to find it. And you wouldn't guess it, but the exit clause is again a true love's kiss. You know what? I don't care anymore. This movie is boring. Here's the rest of the movie in 30 seconds to a minute. Fiona is leading a group of ogres. Rumpy hires a bounty hunter to kill Shrek and all the ogres. The bounty hunter captures all of the ogres besides Shrek. While all this is happening, Shrek and Fiona are falling in love. Remember, Fiona doesn't know who this man is, so she has to fall in love with him for the first time over again. Rumpy makes an offer to all the people in the world that whoever brings him Shrek will get a deal that makes it so they get anything they want. Shrek goes and turns himself in to use the deal to free all the ogres. But oh no, it didn't free Fiona because she's not fully an ogre. Somehow. I still don't understand this movie. Fiona and Shrek break out of jail, they kill Rumpelstiltskin, they kiss, and then we cut back to the beginning of the movie. And instead of storming out like he did before, he makes everything right. And that is Shrek 4. Here are my final rankings and thoughts. In last place, we have none other than Shrek 4. I feel like it was useless. I mean, it didn't move the plot forward at all. Sure, there was some cool fighting and it moved Shrek's character, but besides that, it was boring. I think they definitely needed to do something different with the fourth movie because the three first movies just felt like the same thing back to back to back, but this was not it. In third place, we have number 3. Like I said, they literally did the same thing with 3 movies, so this one just felt dragged out at this point. And this was my least favorite villain out of all 4 movies by far. He felt the least bad, the least impactful, the least intimidating. Charming just felt like a little wimp. Not only that, but Arthur was just a boring character. And a lot of this movie just felt like filler. Finally, we are at the top 2. We have actually good movies that I would recommend you watch if you haven't. At number 2, I have Shrek number 1. I mean, this movie is a class. It does what it does well for its time. Farquaad is an okay villain. He is by far the most iconic in this series. The movie definitely does the most. I mean, it's the first one, so it's supposed to, but I like what it does and how it does it. And finally, number 1, Shrek 2. If you don't want to watch Shrek 1, you should solely do it so that you can watch this movie. It is so good. They fit so much into this movie, and it all fits like a puzzle piece. Like a puzzle. I didn't need to add piece. I think it was like the first movie, but everything just fit better. The villain, the arguments with the dad, the potion, the ball, everything just went so well together, and it all felt useful, which is something that the latter 2 movies struggled with. Thank you all for watching this yap session of a video. Comment what movie you want me to make a video on next. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. You watched a goddamn 30-minute video. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I recorded for 50 minutes. I have no idea. Truthfully, I have no clue.